to order the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meeting for December 22nd, 2025. If everyone would please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you all. All right, moving on to item number 3, roll call.
Thank you. Kyler Cox. Mercedes Kaiser.
Present.
Philomena Roberts.
Present.
Paige Algood. Ashley Pascal. Here. William Byers.
Present.
Jimmy Brooks.
Present.
Dale McCormick.
Present.
Ali Strader. Councilmember Cameron Moses.
Here.
Thank you.
All in agreement to roll call, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Alrighty, number 4, call to the public. We will now have an open call to the public for citizens wishing to address the board on issues within the jurisdiction of the board. Your comments must be limited to 3 minutes or less. If you wish to address an item that is an item already on today's agenda, you should wait until the item is announced for a public hearing. At the conclusion of the open call to the public, individual members of the board may respond to criticism made by those who address the board, may ask staff to review a matter, or may ask that a matter be placed on a future agenda. However, board members cannot discuss or take legal action on matters not already on the agenda. Item number 5, meeting minutes. We will be approving the November and December minutes in our January's meeting. Moving on to number 6, communications, announcements, staff report. 6.1, director's report, Director Vera.
Thank you and welcome back. I know that we had a few months off since the last time we met. I hope everybody is really excited to get some holiday fun in with their families and some much needed time off. So we're going to jump right into our director's report. So starting off in our parks division, we've finished installing the new signage out at Sarah Park. We were approved at the last council meeting to purchase an All Abilities We Go round. And just for reference and maybe a reminder for those of us who weren't here physically in that meeting, back in, I believe it was July, or maybe not that far, one of our fall meetings, we had the community come out, mothers who were representing their young children and their children with disabilities, advocating for some additional playground features that were going to meet the needs of their kids and their loved ones. So based off of that, we were able to work some magic and get some quotes for some accessible features for some of our playgrounds. In that time, we were able to take it to council and actually got the funds approved. So we're moving forward with that purchase. And we are excited that this is something that the community is backing and excited about as well. The Sarah Park Dog Park parking lot is being updated. I'm not sure if you have driven out there recently, but it is fenced off. They laid out asphalt, they've sealed it, and then tomorrow they'll begin striping it. We've already started site locates for the future shade structure over Jack Hardy Playground. So that was a pretty complicated project, seeing as there's that very large hot air balloon, which is a key feature of that playground. So making sure that we can get that shaded and still, follow our permitting and engineering with the company that we use. So Mr. Reynolds and his team have done a fabulous job in working with one of the contractors so we can get that going. We did install our new holiday tree. If you haven't seen it at Wheeler Park, you can see it from space when it's lit up at night. So it's a great new feature. And then we are coming back from our 2-week pool closure. And in that 2-week closure, the team refinished all of the locker room benches. We changed out shower heads, refinished the beach, and retiled the soaker tubs. So these are some of the pictures of what we were just talking about. So those are the new signs out at Sarah Park. That is the We Go Round that will be installed over at Rotary Park. It will be in place of the teeter-totter or seesaw that used to be in its place. And then that is the unfinished new parking lot. There is our beautiful new holiday tree all lit up. I figured a picture at night would definitely do it some justice. To the right, you'll see the newly finished locker room benches, the new refinished beaches. So when you go into the aquatic center where we have our palm trees and some of our other accessible features, the color of the sand was dated. So we went ahead, refinished it, refreshed it. So now it's bright, it's vibrant. As soon as you walk in, it really captures your eye. So it looks great. And then just a picture of some of the shower heads that we had installed. And then moving on to aquatics. So we went ahead and during that 2-week closure as well, our team installed an all abilities learning and play feature at our beach entry. So this just went along really well with the same group that came to advocate for playground accessibility and different features. It just happened that we were already working on something in our aquatic center. And then in that too, and I hope that most of you are familiar with our Kinderswim. And if you are not familiar with our Kinderswim, it's a program that the Parks Department puts on for the majority of the elementary schools in the city. All of the 6 elementary schools for the unified, Lake Havasu Unified School District. And it's a program where we take kindergartners out and we give them swim lessons. Now, that begins in February, but something really interesting and cool that one of our lifeguards wanted to implement was growing this program and ensuring that the tools that we're giving these kindergartners in their kindergarten year is something that they're taking and still holding on to even when they get into 5th grade. Thus, the Mission 5 Ready to Rescue. This is a program that's a branch off of Kinderswim where we're going to be working with the schools to take 5th graders, retest them to make sure that they're still passing those swim tests, teaching them hands-only safe CPR, as well as different life-saving techniques, just to make sure, since we are around a large body of water, there's a lot of pools, like backyard pools. We have a large aquatic center. Water is easily accessible in this community, and we want to ensure that all of the kids in this community have the necessary skills to be safe and to hopefully keep their peers safe. So we're really excited about that program. And then we also have 7 new lifeguards that'll be starting in January, and they're currently going through training. So in this picture, you'll see the new aquatics feature that we were speaking about earlier. So it's a table. The water pretty much pours from that top bowl you'll see and runs into that mountain landscape on one side, which you can actually change the direction once it overflows into different rivers and valleys. And then the other section, it kind of goes through a maze type disc. So it's really neat, really cool. It's low to the ground, so it's accessible to everybody. And then these are some of our new lifeguards. They just went through their certification process yesterday, and then some of our existing lifeguards who are getting recertified. And then into our recreation. So we have hired a new recreation coordinator. Her name is Jordan Dornblazer. She's overseeing our out-of-school programs, so our after-school cares and our summer camps, winter camps, things of that nature. We are in winter camp right now, which we are completely full. We have about 130 participants out at Smoke Tree. So that's been going really well. Today was the first day. So I think the participants are really excited to get some time off from school. We have over 50 programs scheduled for next month. So, a huge task, a huge undertaking, but we've got some really dedicated staff that are really excited. NFL flag starts next month as well. We do have a few spots available in each age division. Our Itty Bitty Golf Open will be on January 17th, 2025. So there's 3 tee times, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and space is limited. And just a cool reminder for those who are watching at home or even you all on the board, the best dressed golfer and caddy win 2 tickets to the Waste Management Open. So super cool perk. And then I do want to just highlight some of our department success. I'm not sure if you all received the press release that went out, I believe last week. But it was just highlighting the fact that our department in the last 6 months has had over 160 programs, and we've seen well over 3,000 residents in those programs, special events, special interest classes. So just something we're really excited about, and we've definitely seen the interest from the community, and our participation numbers speak for themselves. So we're very excited. Oh, sorry. The Itty Bitty Golf is January 17th, 2026, not 2025. I'm still stuck in the wrong year. And then moving on, just so you all can see. So this is Jordan. She couldn't be here tonight, but just to give you a little bit of a background, Jordan has her bachelor's in Parks and Recreation Management with an emphasis in outdoor education and a minor in disability studies from NAU. Some of her experience, she was a guest service lead at the Havasu Riviera Marina, a recreation supervisor for Flagstaff, and then she worked for El Segundo Parks and Recreation Department in California. So she brings a wealth of knowledge. We're super excited to have her a part of the team. And then just a quick overview. I'm not going to go into detail because, like I said, there's over 50 programs on that calendar. I'll make sure that you all receive an email of the actual calendar itself, so you'll be able to review it, share it as you please. But we're really excited. There's something for everyone. Programs are available for all ages, including children, teens, adults, mothers, and seniors. We're offering both free and low-cost options, and we have a variety of classes and activities: cooking, art, games, esports, kayaking, and so much more. And then I just wanted to do a quick recap. So this past Friday was our Sledding with Santa. We had an amazing turnout of people from the community, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play that short video. I think I have your mouse. I stole it. Let me see. It should. And we did borrow this from River Scene Magazine, so thank you, River Scene Magazine. So this year we upped the amount of snow so we could have more people slide, and they went much further, much faster, which was really exciting to all the participants. We added in a foam pit, so our snow pit. We had arts and crafts, cookies, hot chocolate. Around 7 o'clock, we had our carolers come out and a special guest appearance from Santa, and everybody sang Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Overall, we got great feedback from the community. A lot of people were able to see the difference from the last few years, and we're really excited about some of the small tweaks and improvements we've made. And then at that top picture is just a picture from one of our tamales classes that we did, which the excitement for those classes in particular, we ended up having to bump the number of participants because, as I like to say, it was like Black Friday in the early 2000s. Everybody was trying to fight to get a spot, and the space was limited. So really, really great turnout. And then, of course, our community dinner on December 12th, which was a fantastic turnout. My first time really being able to witness the community come together and really enjoy the holidays and enjoy each other's company and meet their neighbors. So just some fantastic events that were either held by the Parks Department or in support of the Parks Department. And with that, any questions, comments?
Yeah, not so much of any questions, but more comments. I do use a lot of the parks and recs around the town with my family. And seeing the signs at Sarah Park, just in the comment, that's really cool to see. So I just want to commend everybody for all their efforts in that. It's really good to promote all the activities around the town, and being able to see that was really cool. So thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have questions or comments for Ms. Vera? Okay, I'd like to say a thing here. Super excited about the signs out at Sarah Park, and to see that disc golf sign is really exciting. Also, I had a question about, you said there was 3,000 people who had attended Parks and Rec programs over the last 6 months. Is that 3,000 total or 3,000 different members?
So it's above 3,000 total. So what we have to do, so of course we can calculate the exact numbers for our registration for those programs. But for example, how we had to base it off for Fall Fun Fair, kind of take rough counts, look at the number of tickets that were sold for our concerts, kind of doing rough skims and rough counts as people are walking in. So some of those larger scale events, and we always try to be more conservative on that end. And so much so when we were looking at these numbers, we didn't even add what the full extent of Fall Fun Fair was. So we're closer to almost 4,000 than we are 3,000. But just based off of our registration, registered programs, off of our special events, drop-ins, because just another thing to reference, when we had our like pickleball and pancakes, those are drop-ins. When we do our glow-in-the-dark pickleball, those are drop-ins. So those are a little bit harder to reference back. You'll have to pull back each of those individual receipts. But the amount of people that we've come out, whether we're looking at pictures that were taken, so last week or the week prior, we had our line dancing. It was the only the second week that we had that class. One of the staff took a picture and I counted out how many people. So we had 30 people in the gym who were line dancing. So just kind of taking numbers and rough numbers like that and just being able to look, it's just, the feedback is incredible. So.
Awesome. That's exciting to hear. I also want to comment on the Mission 5 Ready to Rescue. That's amazing. That's something that our town definitely needs. And it's really cool that we're going to teach our fifth graders like some new skills and that they will be able to carry that with them and also help a friend out.
And I do want to acknowledge that this was the idea of one of our lifeguards. So this wasn't something that our aquatics coordinator or our supervisor came up. This was an idea that one of our lifeguards had envisioned and brought to his supervisor, who then brought it to me, and we're going to make it happen. And they sat down with the Red Cross so we can talk a little bit more about what that curriculum would look like, and to be able to put our staff and our team in a room so they can get the recognition that they deserve for having such an amazing idea. We're definitely building on our succession planning. So we've just got an amazing team and we're doing some really incredible things.
Awesome. Thank you to the lifeguard who gave this awesome idea.
Max. His name is Max Wolf.
Thank you, Max Wolf.
Or Wolf? I think it's Wilkie. So Max Wolkie.
Ooh, Max Wolfie. Thank you for your amazing idea. And let's see, the holiday tree is gigantic and amazing, and all of my kids love it.
56 feet tall. So just remember.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, moving on to public hearing, item number 7.1. We have discussion accessibility at Rotary Park ball fields.
So yes, so in our previous meeting, this topic came up, referencing the accessibility into the Rotary Park ball fields. So myself and Mr. Reynolds have been talking about some possible ideas. So I'm going to ask Mr. Reynolds to come up, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a image on the screen to kind of help you envision what we're talking about.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members. It's a pleasure to be here. So as we talk about accessibility, we have a lot of things we get tasked with, and we take all of it very serious. And unfortunately, we just can't drop of the hat and turn something around in a short period of time. So we have to schedule and plan. So accessibility on the upper end, which would be more like the east side by the storage shed that's there right by that new hotel that's being built in the condo project. There was a need for getting some accessibility on that area particularly. So we worked with engineering and public works, and we have a site plan. And as you can see here on this drawing, you'll see the little red outlined rectangle. So that encompasses 3 parking spots. The center one will be hatched out actually for the ADA ramp that you have to have, and you have to have turnaround and radius on both sides. So then basically that'll become 2 new ADA parking stalls with the hatched out portion in the center, and they can access there. The rest of the sidewalk down to the access the fields in that area is real close to our ADA requirements, which is a certain percentage. And so that'll alleviate that for us there. And so that's one of the projects we will be starting at the beginning of the new year as we get through some of the holiday rush and some of our other projects. You guys have any questions on that?
I just like to say thank you for this. This is something that I kind of been advocating for due to we have, as a member of the senior softball deal out there, and I've seen you at the park, you've seen me and everything else. We have, especially some of our snowbirds whose wives with walkers and stuff like that. I'll bring up an incident that happened today. We had a gentleman who showed up last week, and he's been gone for about 4 years. He had colon cancer, and he was real bad. And he said that he parked where everybody parks at right there. To step up on the deal, he had to hold the side of a car because he just wanted to make sure his legs were stable because of his cancer and his treat. He's still going through ongoing treatment and stuff. But he was just asking a few people if they'd heard anything about it. And I told him, I'm trying to get you guys some help here. And so just know that everybody in the program down there is going to highly appreciate what you're doing.
And we take it very serious, and thank you for that comment. It's very important to us. And you'll see some white lines there in the next week or so because we'll be doing locates and a precursor to getting ready to start this project.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Vice Chair Kaiser. Mr. Reynolds, how was this brought to your attention again?
It came up at a PRA B board meeting, I believe.
It came up in our last meeting. It was something that was brought to our attention. So we had a conversation on how we can make this happen. We've also noticed when we have our Halloween events, which is a perfect example, we end up putting out temporary ramps. So for parents who have maybe young children in strollers, or if there's somebody who has who needs a mobility device, it's hard to get up over that lip. So seeing as we've already noticed that and we've taken action temporarily in some of our events, and then it coming up in our last board meeting, we had the conversation in making this more permanent.
Thank you. Oh, and was it this location specifically, though?
It was because it was between the 2 ball fields, and that's a heavily used parking area there, especially for the senior group. And this became the best target vector to alleviate what we were after. South of that is a lot more ADA parking. There's also ADA accessibility, but it's all the way down at the south end of that parking lot. So this is going to put it in the middle and give us another good option.
Great. Will you be looking at any of the park areas next?
Always looking.
I mean, within Rotary Park, the playground areas. That's what I mean.
Well, we're always looking. If we have a need, we'll be doing assessments and things as well. We always are looking to try to make things better and more accessible. That's a main focal point, for sure. And if we note some areas, we're going to incorporate that into our program as well.
Thank you.
I have one question, Mr. Reynolds. Will one of these spaces be van accessible, or will they both be identical?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to meet the requirements. That's why we're working with Public Works. So we'll have the signs will be posted van accessible. That's why we're doing such a large hatched area as well. That gives the ability for ramps and things to come down out of the vehicle.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have any other questions for Mr. Mr. Reynolds, sorry. All right, thank you, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you.
Alrighty, moving on to item number 7.2, discussion operational hours of ball field lighting. My apologies. Back on item 7.1, discussion, accessibility at Rotary Park ball fields. We would like to open this up to the public for comments. Would anyone from the public like to come forward? Ooh, tough crowd, all right. Bringing it back to the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. Any final comments? Okay, thank you. Moving on to item number 7.2, discussion operational hours of ball field lighting.
Thank you, Board Member Kaiser. So again, this came up in our previous advisory board meeting from Chairman Cox regarding having some additional lighting in our parks after hours, and not for the need of our sports organizations or our youth sports organizations, but more so for the need of families who are just coming out and looking to just utilize our parks, especially during the summer in the evening time when it's a little bit cooler. We've had previous conversations in the department internally amongst ourselves, looking at the feasibility, how this would work, if this would work, benchmarking it across other departments. And ultimately we determined that this isn't, at least right now, this isn't feasible, but I'm going to have Mr. Reynolds come up and give you a little bit more information as far as what that looks like, because I think a lot of the times, it's almost like when you're at home and you leave your lights on all day, what does that electric bill look like? And those are the things that I think we all need to consider as a board and really look further into. So Mr. Reynolds.
Good evening again, Madam Chair, board members. So the operational dynamics of this is a little more involved than just leaving the lights on longer. So let me give you a little backstory here. We have the ability we have what's called a atomic football package. That's where the on-call person takes home this big briefcase with a phone in it and several other things for monitoring the parks. We have the ability, and we're working towards having the ability to shut water off if we have leaks or things running during games, and also to monitor the lights and turn them on and off. We recently had that upgraded in the nuclear football package. So if somebody's there and the lights go out or they're not on, they can call the on-call number and we can take care of this situation. Well, if we want to leave things on longer, everything with me is budget. It's just not that simple. I have a budget for the year, and for what we're using for the budget, there are certain parks or certain fields that use more energy than others. And they're based on surcharges and rates that we have. And it's also called a tier program. So we get to a certain level where we leave them on longer. That puts us in the next tier of the billing, which raises their costs. So in order to do this, which is a very feasible thing that we can accomplish. However, we have to go back and plug it into the budget. We got to start figuring out numbers and things. Just in the past 5 years, you cannot believe how much energy has gone up. It is amazing how much it's gone up, and just for our field usage. So, with that being said, that's something that we're going to need to, Director Veer and I and Superintendent McIntyre, we're going to need to work on that, formulate our program, and then we're going to have to go to our bosses and council and things and present as we would move forward with something in this respect.
And then I do want to add to that. This isn't, we aren't totally nixing the idea. So we're currently working on, especially with our mobile recreation unit, we're going to pilot some park after dark programs during the summer. We're going to start off with maybe 2 a month and see what the turnout is going to be like. And those may involve where we leave the field lights on a little bit later, or we bring out additional lighting, and offer up opportunities for families to recreate in the evening time, especially during the summer. So I don't want us to think that this idea is completely thrown out of the window. We're just looking at how we can best optimize our current budget and still meet the needs of the community.
Vice Chair, may I ask a few questions? Okay. I love the park after the dark idea. So I have a few questions just to clarify what we're talking about. So currently the field lights at our parks aren't on unless the field is reserved. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. We have started, the mitigation on ourselves to be a little more accountable for what we have and what's going on. For example, I did an audit on several, when we started talking about this, on several different park sites. I went out, it was raining and the lights were on. I went by another facility, the lights were on and there was nobody out there playing. So, to be real about it and be good stewards, with our budget, we need to look at these aspects, and that's what we've been looking at. And so if the field is scheduled for gameplay, and they've got a reservation, or we have a user group that's normally doing a practice, say on a Tuesday night, and they're going to be done at this time, there's a safety zone. So when they do finish their practice, they have time to get to their cars or off the field and things like that. There are certain lights that are left on that are security lights and things, but not the entire field.
Great, that makes sense. In your auditing and monitoring whether the reserved fields are actually in use, what happens when they're not? And if you have repeat offenders with that?
Well, I am not in the position where I'm doing any type of negotiating any type of fines or punishment. What we are doing is our job is to work with the user groups and support them, look at these wonderful programs that they put together, these moms and dads that are coaches and running these organizations. So it's our job to back them. So we are just trying to get a better program, better on our end, to facilitate those types of events.
Which, and I will add to that. So, Superintendent McIntyre has a great relationship with all of our user groups, and he's constantly double checking with them or letting them know we had a reservation from this time to this time. Nobody showed up, or they left early. No one informed us, because there's been plenty of times, like Mr. Reynolds has said too, where he's driven around by the parks and nobody's there and the lights are on. There's been plenty of times that Mr. McIntyre has driven around and nobody was there and the lights are on. So we are working on a program to keep some of these user groups more accountable. We are extremely thankful for the service that they offer the community, but we also have to do our part in partnership with one another to make sure that we're being responsible stewards of taxpayer dollars.
Thank you. And your answer was very kind and polite. I just know that there's a lot of need for field space. And so if it's not going to be used when it's reserved, it would be, I think, maybe worth looking into just somehow encouraging those who are reserving the fields to remove their reservation when they're not using them.
And in all of our program as well, we recently, all of our lighting is on a control circuit through a company that we have a contract with. We just upgraded the Island Ball Field, for example. So if you are out there with your group and you decide to leave an hour early, you actually have a phone number you can call. We'll tell those lights to turn off.
Great.
So it's the education as well that we're working on with the user groups to let them know, if you're here, this is your off number. And there's been times where the timers weren't set appropriately, and they'd call and say, hey, it's dark. They'd call Superintendent McIntyre, are they on call? And the guys would just simply turn them on for them.
Nice.
So there's a lot more to it, but we're really working hard to mitigate all this out.
Great. And I do respect the decision or the advice that you're providing right now. I think it's there's a lot of different opinions about whether the lights should be on or off at night, and people enjoy the night skies. Some people enjoy the field. So it's a nice balance. Thanks.
Ms. Weisman.
I play tournament softball, so I travel a lot all over the place. And I have noticed that a lot of ball complexes now in places that I play, for the reason that you're talking about for costs and stuff like that, are putting in or installing some type of a generator. And what they're doing is they're running part of the time on the electrical system for the deal, and that at some point it kicks over to that one so that they're on their own power and they're not pulling from there, and they're all scheduled to go off at a specific time, kind of like running it on a timer, and then everything goes dark. And they also have it set up like you were talking about, if there's nobody there or everybody leaves and the lights are still off, then they can go in and remotely shut the system down and kill everything. And I'm wondering if something like that might not work at some of these parks.
Well, again, and then it's still design, programming, and budgeting, for what you need to do. I will tell you this, I have a lot of experience with backup generators and working in the water department here, where we had, every well site had a gas-fired motor that could pump water if we were in a power outage. But for the type of generators that we would need, these are 600 amp SES switchgear. It'd be a pretty large size generator. And then that also requires, they have to run, once every couple of weeks as a test site. We have to have them serviced. They have to be maintained. There are other sides to that. There are other things that we can work on, and Director Vera and Superintendent McIntyre are working on many things that we, once we have a little more information on it, we can share that.
Would solar be an option at all, or is that going to be enough to push?
Solar, well, the solar that we have here, just like in the parking lot, all that is doing is offsetting the usage, what's going in. It's actually making power. It's not storing it. It's just making power, where you get a discount for making it, but you're not storing it. If we had the ability to store stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I really wasn't sure because I don't know that much about it. So that's why I asked. All right. Thank you.
Great questions, by the way. Thank you.
Which park specifically are we speaking about? Sarah Park and Rotary Park only for these ball fields, or were there?
And Cypress.
Okay. Also, are there? I'm not familiar, but are there LEDs installed on these lights right now currently?
We have a mixture right now. We have metal halide, mercury vapor, and then we have LEDs in the mix as well.
Yeah, I know LEDs are pretty cost efficient nowadays. Even though the power is going up, we are still seeing that. But I feel like is that something we can consider as LED lighting upgrades to help with some of that cost? I'm sure you probably already discussed it. Maybe it looks like so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and really, I'm dictated to stick to the agenda. So just know this: I'm always working on stuff, aren't I, Director Vera?
Yes, and so you'll stick to the agenda, and I'll make note of this. Thank you for bringing that up. This is something that you will see within the next couple council meetings. Superintendent Reynolds has been working tirelessly with his team so we can do some lighting improvements at Rotary and at Sarah, not only to be more efficient, but to help with the brightness. So thank you.
Yeah,
Awesome, thank you.
Well, I love it. This is my home. This is my community. I'm proud of all you for what you're doing. And this is my job, and I love doing this job. And I need to work with the user groups and support everybody. And that's what we do. And we do it with a smile. We answer the call. That's our motto.
Vice Chair. Yeah, thank you. Great work, great presentation. You say it'll cost more money. Do we have estimates about what that would be?
I do. But unfortunately, until it hits that next tier, then we'd have to calculate. I know how much they've gone up in the past 5 years.
Yeah, no, I know
so it's astronomical. And I really, I would have to sit down and do some calculations.
No, because I absolutely love that you guys are being so fiscally conservative and all of that stuff. It would be interesting to know from a council standpoint when we get to our planning session, coming up, just what that would look like and how much it would add to our budget. Because we don't want to do it unnecessarily, but we do. But we also, it is a shame that we have these beautiful assets like Cypress or Rotary, and that if you can't use them when you want to, then we also invested all that money for nothing for somebody not being able to use it. So it would just be interesting to know from a council standpoint. We can't go back to the old school where you twist the knob and it goes for 45 minutes. Stuff like that is interesting. But so you said there's a non-emergency line number that people can call?
Yeah, we have an on-call number that is in the nuclear football. It is its own phone. That can be called as well. And then also Superintendent McIntyre and I have other staff that have the program as well. There's kind of a chain that you can go through to get the call in to get the lights on or off.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Where do we list that number? And is that something
we would not want to list that number. The other part of this is there is a username and password to access as far as to turn on the lights. So we are very strategic in the numbers because the number that we hand out to turn off the lights is different than the number that we're calling on our end for Musco to turn on and off or change the timing or change the set time. So those are, am I correct? I just want to make sure.
So how it would be, Councilmember Moses, is if you have a reserve field, you will have that number to call.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're going to be getting calls all night because my dog's over playing Frisbee at 3 a.m. and can I have the lights on?
And it's just to turn off lights, not to turn them on.
But if you did have a problem, we do have a number that you can call that gets to the person that can turn them on.
If you're a registered user and you were registered to use that field at that time.
Yes.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Question for you. I'm just wondering if the ball field lighting is also connected to, say, the restrooms?
No, it's completely separate.
Okay.
So the restrooms have their own timers. We have them set up two ways. Either we have them photocell energized and then time clock on off, or we just have photocell on off, depending on the need. So like security lighting where we might need it all night from dusk to dawn will be a photocell. If we want to program it like in a restroom or something when it actually needs to be shut down and vacated, and then we'll use the time clocks. But they are completely separate from ball fields.
Does anybody have any more questions or comments?
I have one more.
All right, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Have we ever gotten complaints? Do we get complaints about the lights being on when they shouldn't be, or the people who live near the park getting complaints?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we don't get many, but we have had some. I think I was the one complaining the most.
Oh, Sarah Park?
Sarah Park is where Cypress originally, when I believe the lights were first installed, but as of recently, it's the lights at Sarah. We're getting complaints, surprisingly, that they're too bright. So,
And we need them to be bright so that, baseball players or softball players don't.
yeah, and getting knocked in the head with a baseball, yeah.
Cypress is all LED with dark sky protocols, and that is the shielding that gives us, we're within margin of the light pollution.
Is there no shielding out at Sarah Park?
Only on a few of them, yes. And it's the older shielding. It's completely different with a non-LED.
Those are old lights, aren't they?
Yes. So those light and energize that whole refractor, so it's a big mirror. LEDs have 106 LEDs that shoot straight down, so it's easier to have the technology that we need for the shielding for dark sky.
All righty, anyone else? All right, we will now open item number 7.2 up to the public. Would anybody like to come up to the podium? All right, seeing none, we will bring it back to, oh my gosh, the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. There we go. Thank you, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, and you guys have happy holidays. It's always a pleasure.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
All right, item number 3, discussion and possible action amendments to Lake Havasu City Code Chapter 11.06 regarding Parks and Recreation Advisory Board officer terms, meeting frequency, and powers and duties.
Thank you, Board Member Kaiser. So in our previous meeting, the item came up in the frequency in meetings. And from what it seemed like, we had a consensus to move meetings every other month. Now, something that the city does, if we're going to pull code, we're also going to look at the entirety of it. So we want to make sure then that the board is reflecting what's written down for the city code. So in doing so, I've had some conversations with Councilmember Cameron Moses, with Assistant City Manager Anthony Kozłowski, and our City Attorney Kelly Gary regarding the code. So we're going to go ahead. I believe all of you should have copies in front of you, and I just want to go through it piece by piece to make sure that everybody has a full understanding of the recommended changes. And again, if you have any questions, just stop me as we go, or I'll just go through the whole thing and then we can save the questions for the end. So we're going to start off in that section 1, under officers. So the officers of the board shall be selected by the board members at the first meeting of the board following the first day of July each year and shall serve in such capacity until the last day of June of the succeeding year. So previously it said no officer shall serve in the same capacity for more than 2 consecutive 1-year terms. I do not believe that this was being followed. So we went ahead and we removed that completely, just seeing as I know a lot of you have very busy lives. Some of you are you have other obligations outside of the board and cannot take on the role as chair. So we've seen where certain members have been a chair consecutive years in a row, which is why we removed that. Does anybody have any questions about that section? Do they agree with it? Do they disagree with it? Comments, concerns? No? Okay. So then I'm going to move into section 2 under attendance at meetings. So the absence from 3 consecutive regular meetings of the board by any member thereof without the consent of the board shall be deemed a constitute a resignation of such member, and such member's position shall thereupon be deemed vacant. Instead of doing 3, we decided to do 2, especially if we're leaning towards doing every other month, which would mean we are only meeting 6 times a year. So if you miss 2 meetings out of that term consecutively, we're just seeing it as then maybe this just isn't an opportunity that you can fulfill as of right now. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
Director Vera, you, in explaining that, you talked about it being 2 consecutive meetings, but the consecutive is crossed out in the recommendation.
Oh, you're right. So it should just be 2 regular. So if you'd missed 2 for the year, my apologies. Now, if you all would rather it be consecutive, where you missed 2 consecutive, that would make you feel more comfortable. Or if you are okay just saying if you missed 2 in the year, then that's something we can talk about as well.
And then just one more point. You're saying the year, and that is not included here. It just is 2 meetings of the board. So I think I'm fine with the recommendation, but I think it just needs a little bit more clarification.
Okay. In a year, or their term, which, well, no, that can't be their term. It's got to be a year.
You are right. That is how this is written and not what she's saying. So I think we need to come to a consensus from a board standpoint. If it's 2 absences within a year.
And are they consecutive or not?
I don't think consecutive has anything to do with it. I think it's just 2 within a year.
Okay. All right. So then I'll go ahead. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Alrighty. And then moving into powers and duties. So under section 1, to set a time for regular meetings to be held at least once every other month if there is business to transact, whereby 5 members shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business. So this is what we spoke about in the previous meeting, where everybody seemed to come to a consensus of doing every other month. Are we still in agreement on that? And then moving down to
Yeah, I won't count towards the quorum. It'll be strictly you are the voting members.
yeah, the council liaison wouldn't count towards the
Just
quorum.
report and help in any way I can.
And then to number 3, to review and approve the official minutes of all board meetings as prepared by the Parks and Recreation Department prior to the transmittal of such minutes to the city clerk. It read to the city council, but that wasn't taking place. So we revised it to where it goes to the city clerk. And we're all in agreement on that? Perfect. Okay, so if you move down to 5, to assist and advise the Parks and Recreation Department in the development of a continuing plan for the city's park system and recreation programs. I am going to read the scratched out part, and then we can talk about that as well. The city manager, through the Parks and Recreation Director, shall from time to time send such plans and programs to the board for review. The results of such review shall be forwarded to the city council. So the only reason that this was removed is because this isn't something that we're necessarily doing. And I don't necessarily see the need for us to do this. I could understand if we were still developing our city and creating parks and acquiring land. But as of right now, I don't see the need.
And if the city manager wanted to, they could do that at any time anyway.
100%, or myself.
Okay.
And then number 6, I'm just going to read the whole thing. To assist and advise the Parks and Recreation Department in establishing priorities at budget time for those items other than administrative functions relating to park acquisition and development and recreational and leisure programming. The recommendations of the board shall be forwarded to city council by the city manager when he or she submits the proposed budget to council. So, again, this isn't necessarily happening. Myself and Councilmember Moses have had some conversations, as stated previously, about being more intentional with this board. So some of those items that will come to you would be the fee schedule. We're looking at getting the board more involved, but that would be at the discretion of our department. Is that okay? And then number 7, to receive, accept, and acquire, subject to final action by the city council, by gift, bequest, or device, real and or personal property of any and every kind, nature, and description in the name of the city for park and or recreational purposes, subject to the terms of the gift. I don't know how many of you are receiving gifts or favors, so...
Is that the reason why you're recommending to strike it is for the...
We just haven't, if it's something that hasn't come up or we haven't seen a need for, this was all on the recommendation from our city attorney.
Okay. Just historical perspective, in the past, when a gift is being made to the parks, just a ceremonial activity would be to come and present it to the board, which was always nice, but obviously not necessary because it's actually for the city and would go to the city council anyway. So,
but I do want to bring back, I believe it was maybe my first or second meeting when the Pickleball Association came out, and they still did we still presented the check. If that community group or individual would want to do that, we're more than welcome to still bring that to the Park Advisory Board.
When I met with the city attorney about this and we spoke briefly, it's not necessarily necessary to be codified. You know what I mean? Absolutely. That is something that can still happen. And it will and should. And, that ceremony is awesome when somebody's willing to donate to our city like that. She just thought it might be unnecessary to be in the code.
And then to number 6, and I'm going to read the redacted or scratched out. To prepare and recommend to the City Council for approval of master plan for the development of municipally owned parks and specific plan for the development of each city park. So instead it would be to assist the director with the development of updating a master plan for the development of said owned parks and a specific plan for the development of each city park. So as some of you, or I hope most of you are aware, we're going to be hopefully soon within the next several months be looking at our master plan process. And this is something that the Parks Advisory Board is going to be heavily involved in. And that's why we wanted to make sure that that stayed, because a parks master plan this is something that's going to turn up hopefully every 10 to 15 years. So this is something that would need to be codified. Any comments, questions? I did. I'm sorry. I didn't even see that one. Okay, so I did skip one. So number 8, to suggest to the mayor and city council qualified and interested persons eligible for appointment to the vacancies of the board. Currently, we have a process where individuals apply. I've had some of our prior board members, existing board members reach out to me and let me know that they have somebody of interest who they think would be good for the board. But again, I think going back to Kelly, I don't think she necessarily thought this needed to be codified.
It hasn't been what we practiced. You make recommendations and tell, good quality candidates to come apply, but that we go through the application process that the city council we dictated how we wanted that to go. And so we needed this to match what we're doing on our end.
Okay, so then just to confirm, the only change or recommendation is under attendance at meetings. So the absence from 2 regular meetings in a year by any member thereof without the consent of the board shall be deemed to constitute a resignation of such member, and such member's position shall thereupon be deemed vacant. I just want to confirm.
As Ashley commented, Director Vera, as Ashley commented, in a calendar year, is the word calendar included in there, in that?
We'll put that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Just a comment. The maximum of the 2 consecutive year terms for the officers, I think that's a short maximum anyway, and I don't think there needs to be one for this board, but I do just want to comment that, it's a healthy culture for the board when you have some change in some number of years, just to change it up and have different leadership. And this isn't a comment towards you at all. But just striking that, I just wanted to make that comment because it is just a healthy culture.
I would agree. Well, thank you. We'll go ahead and we will take these recommendations back to. Okay. Stop her.
We will now take this time to open item 7.3, discussion and possible action, amendments to the Lake Havasu City Code, Chapter 11.06 regarding Parks and Recreation Advisory Board officer terms, meeting frequency, and powers and duties. We will open this to the public. Would anyone from the public like to comment? All right, seeing none, we will move it back to us. Looking for a motion.
I'll motion it to.
Could you say that into the microphone?
I'll make a motion to approve after all the corrections and everything that they want to add and take out has all been completed.
Thank you. We have a motion. Looking for a second.
I'll second it.
We have a second. Thank you.
Vice Chair, can I have a discussion? I just want to be clear. I'm doing my best Kelly Gary impression right now. So we want to accept every single track change in this document as written, and no other changes that we want to make as a board. Is that correct?
Other than the addition or the changing of words under attendance at meetings to 2 and then calendar year.
In a calendar year.
Yes.
Yeah, after that, right?
And you're recommending that?
Yes, I'm recommending that.
Okay.
So I recommend your,
No, don't say me.
I recommend what was just proposed to be accepted.
All right. We have our first and second.
Second that, I agree.
All right. We have a first and second with everything regarding the ordinance and track changes and the addition of 11.06.060 attendance at meetings to change 3 consecutive to 2 regular in a calendar year. Alrighty. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, everybody. We will now move on to item number 8, future discussion items. Does anybody have any items they would like to add?
I have one. Who would I speak to regarding maybe a suggestion for a program? One I'm thinking of would be something similar to like a safety camp. And I understand that you have several different camps that go on. The proposal I would make was, try to combine the police, the fire department, and the recreation personnel, and perhaps, 4th, 5th graders, somewhere in that frame, to participate in different learning objectives in terms of safety, like for kayaking, perhaps, or, and then you get into every kind of aspect of that, including some with the EMS, where they could learn some of that. And I see that you do that already in many areas, but how receptive would we be towards that? Something like that.
Well, I would So the suggestion that I would make is that something that we could do now internally. It's not something maybe the board necessarily needs to be involved in. It's something that you can reach directly out to my team, either the recreation superintendent, Marcus McIntyre, and then he can put you in contact with our aquatics supervisor and one of our program coordinators.
Thank you.
Madam Vice Chair.
Go ahead, Ashley.
I would like to suggest a future topic be an update on the pool at the Aquatic Center and maybe clarification or discussion on anything this board can support or discuss on that project. Does anyone want to second that?
I will second that because that was my other.
Perfect.
All right, so Ashley's suggestion will be added for future discussion items. Would anybody else like to recommend or suggest a future discussion item? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 9, future meetings.
The next meeting will be a regular meeting on January 26th, 2026 at 6 p.m.
We're going to continue with the monthly meetings until the updated code is approved. So we'll continue with the monthly meetings.
Great, thank you. All right, the last item of our agenda would be to adjourn this meeting. Meeting adjourned. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you.